You look me in the face right now and tell me you didn't sleep with her.
Melanie.
Did you sleep with her, Derwin?
No. I wouldn't do that to you.
Before we get to dissecting Derwin Davis's battle with toxic masculinity, I need y'all to know that I love the game, okay? I rewatch it constantly, and I think it's one of the greatest and most underrated sitcoms of our time, at least the first 3 seasons. I would be prepared to argue you down that the first 3 seasons of the game were flawless television. I watched the game when it was airing on the CW when I was a sophomore in high school, okay? I saw in real time Melanie find out Derwin was cheating. I remember the first time Melanie told Derwin that he was out here looking like a damn Chicago 2-step champion in his pimp suit, okay? I was blown in real time when Melanie and Derwin were finally about to get together and Janae said she was pregnant. Oh my God, you had to be there. The game was and will forever be my shit. So color me shocked when after 3 perfect seasons, the ass CW canceled it.
Why?
And I was praying that another network would pick it up. But unfortunately, my prayers were answered by BET, and all they did was a bunch of because tell me how BET figured they could fire Tia Mowry and Pooch Hall, the stars of the show. And that's why the BET seasons don't count beyond tying up the arcs of our favorite characters. And the 2021 reboot basically don't exist. All the game fans know this. What's so wild is that the CW has a reputation for f***ing up shows and putting out shows that kind of draw you in but really fall apart at the seams. Yet somehow, the game was at its best on the CW. But BET just frigged that up. Some people don't know this, but the game, which premiered in 2006, was actually Mara Brock Akil's spin-off of Girlfriends. They actually kind of backdoor piloted the game through Girlfriends by making the game's protagonist, Melanie Barnett, cousins with Girlfriends protagonist, Joan Clayton. Although, in that backdoor pilot episode, Derwin wasn't played by Pooch Hall. He was played by a boy that's currently starring in Cross on Prime. And thank God for that, because Pooch Hall was amazing as Derwin, okay? Born for that role. Mara Brock Akil is actually 2-0 at excellent recasting. Because in Girlfriends, Flex Alexander originally played Maya's husband Darnell. And we love Flex. But when he was recast as Khalil Kane, that was the move. Because Khalil ate that up. But the game follows the relationship trials and tribulations between medical student Melanie Barnett and rookie professional football player Derwin Davis after they graduate and move to San Diego so Derwin could play for the San Diego Sabres. Naturally, when shows are built in relationships, the fandom takes sides. So there's always been a debate about whether Derwin or Melanie was the problem. And there is only one right answer. But before we get into that, let me let y'all know right now. Derwin and Melanie are my problematic faves. Yes!
I said what I said!
Yes, you heard me. I love Melanie and Derwin together. Shoot me with your big gun, okay? And not only was I rooting for Melanie and Derwin back when I watched this show as a teenager, now that I'm 32, I'm extra on their side. Now that I really process how young they were navigating what they were navigating. That being said, Melanie and Derwin had serious problems. And not only did they have serious problems, they had one big problem. And that problem's name was Derwin Davis. Yes. Despite the fact that I do love Derwin. Derwin Davis was unequivocally the problem, and not just his relationship with Melanie, but in his relationship with Janae, and even in his relationship with himself. Derwin was a really lovable character in many respects. You may not see it in this video if you've never watched the game, but trust me, he was lovable. He wasn't a bad guy, and it wasn't hard to see why Melanie loved him or to root for them as a couple. But Derwin was also very insecure because his masculinity was very fragile and easily threatened, and as a result, he conducted his relationship in ways meant to affirm his masculinity by expecting that Melanie make him the center of her world. Derwin thought that he, his dreams, and his wants should be Melanie's end-all be-all. Absolutely every problem Derwin had in his relationship with Melanie, Janae, and even his publicist Dion can be traced back to his own sexism or insecurity about his masculinity and how he would look to others. Even though Melanie and Derwin do end up together in the end, and I'm glad they did, if Derwin didn't subscribe to such a rigid idea of masculinity that left him feeling insecure and inadequate, he and Melanie would have never broken up in the first place, let alone the million times afterwards, and she would have never been stuck playing stepmama to he and Janae's baby against her will. So, without further ado, this is the downfall of Melanie and Derwin. Roll the theme song, Aaron.
Black independent, strongest in women. It's so late, it's so late, it's so late, it's so late now. I know that I'm worth it, so make sure to listen. It's so late, it's so late, it's so late, it's so late.
Melanie and Derwin dated in college, and when they graduated, Melanie got into her dream medical school, Johns Hopkins. But Derwin got drafted to the San Diego Sabres, so she gave up Johns Hopkins to go to a San Diego medical school to be with Derwin. Despite that major sacrifice in support of Derwin's dreams, it's not enough for Derwin that Melanie be in San Diego with him supporting his dreams. On top of being in medical school, he expects her to spend all her time with the Sunbeams, an organization of girlfriends and wives on the team devoted to catering to their men. And he pressures her ad nauseum to spend time and energy she does not have to spare being put down by these bitches who lecturing her about how to center her world around this. One day, Melanie's period is late, so Derwin assumes she must be pregnant. And even though she assures him she's not, he decides to propose to her. And he does it live on TV during one of the Sabres games. So Melanie accepts, but she tells him in private afterwards that she of course wants to marry him, but she doesn't want to do it immediately. She wants to finish medical school first. Unbeknownst to Melanie, this is where the cracks in the foundation of their relationship begin to form. But this isn't where they begin to show. Because Derwin can't stomach the idea that she would want to finish medical school or that her ultimate dream isn't to be a football player's wife, he takes it as a personal rejection. But he doesn't unleash all of that yet. It's in the back of his mind. In the forefront of his mind, he's struggling with being a rookie on the team, which shakes out to mean he's constantly being emasculated by the star players on the team, namely his pals Jason and Malik. But Derwin takes all of this in stride as best as he can for a while. Until Trey Wiggs. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Before that Trey Wiggs popped up, Derwin was putting on a brave face, okay? No one really realized his masculinity was holding on by a thread. But when Trey Wiggs showed up, Derwin was fighting for his life, but it was much too much for him.
I'm fighting for my life.
Trey Wiggs wasn't just a star NFL player. He was also one of Melanie's very good friends from college that Derwin been jealous of from time because Trey got drafted way ahead of Derwin. Derwin actually barely got drafted in the first place, and his publicist Dion was a big reason why Derwin even had the little bit of non-existent clout he did. But we will talk about Dion later when I'm ready to make an example of Derwin's ain't shit ass ways. Anyway, Derwin never f***ed with Trey, but it was even worse now because Trey was a top draft pick that's now rich and famous as f***. Meanwhile, Derwin was still a rookie no one knew running around collecting Malik and Jason draws because Derwin wasn't nobody yet. Let me tell you about today's sponsor, Wild Rain. If y'all didn't notice about me, your girl don't like to do no kind of cooking because I'm not qualified to be in nobody kitchen. But Wild Rain makes it easy for people like me to make fresh baked goods right at home because Wild Rain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, and fresh pastas. Every Wild Rain product bakes from frozen in 25 minutes or less. No thawing required, which is perfect if you're a lazy non-cooker like me who plans to tiptoe into the kitchen to beg my husband to bake this for me. It's also perfect because freezing locks in the flavor, nutrients, and texture without using preservatives. What makes Wild Grain extra special is that not only do they partner with small bakers and pasta makers across the country to keep the tradition of artisanal and nutritious food alive, they also donate 2 meals to a food security nonprofit of your choice at no extra cost every time you order a box from them. And they even let you get gluten-free baked goods if you're like me and have an autoimmune disorder that makes gluten one of your worst enemies. On top of that, unlike many store-bought options, Wild Grain uses simple ingredients you could pronounce and a slow fermentation process that can be easier on your belly and richer in nutrients and antioxidants. If you want to check out Wild Grain, be sure to click my link in the description and use my code wildgrain.com/AllurinatiPop to get $30 off your first box. Plus, you'll get free croissants for life. Okay? For life. Again, that's wildgrain.com/AllureNaughtyPop. Thank you so much for sponsoring the video, Wildgrain. Now let's get back to it. Worth mentioning that the reason Derwin believed that had nothing to do with Trey or Melanie ever having done absolutely anything to suggest that. Derwin simply believed all men were trying to sleep with every woman they know and that there are no genuine friendships between men and women. And Trey will not be the only man Melanie cannot speak to in peace. And we're gonna see the same kind of jealous, possessive, sexist shit in his relationship with Janae too, but more on that later. Once you combine Derwin's already sexist belief system about women and men friendships and the fact that the mere mention of Trey's name made him feel small and insecure, this Derwin hated that Melanie and Trey were friends, okay? Despite the fact that they had been friends for years because Melanie tutored Trey in college. And I think their friendship even predated Melanie's relationship with Derwin. So when Trey comes to visit San Diego, he and Melanie meet up for lunch. But when she mentions this to Derwin, he goes off, demanding that she cut Trey off, which Melanie absolutely didn't want to do. But after Derwin refused to drop the issue, Melanie eventually begrudgingly agrees to end her friendship with Trey. However, Melanie quickly reneges on this and goes to lunch with Trey and his mother after Trey told her that his mom insisted on seeing her before they left town. Now, let me give Derwin this. Even though his demand that Melanie end her friendship with Trey is coming from a place of insecurity, and she had the right to refuse to end her friendship that she values, once she agreed to end the friendship, going behind Derwin's back to have lunch with Trey was a violation of Derwin's trust. And it doesn't matter that she went to lunch with Trey and his mother because Trey's mother begged her, it's still a violation. And that violation was worsened by the fact that, unbeknownst to Melanie, Derwin had decided that in exchange for Melanie respecting his feelings about Trey, he would finally fire his publicist Dion, because as he told Melanie, if she had half as much of a problem with Dion as he did with Trey, he needed to let her go. Now here's where Melanie fucked up. Because Derwin ain't nobody, Melanie ain't accustomed to what it's like to be with a big in the NFL for true. So she did not realize that she can't just go to lunch privately with Trey like she can with Derwin. So color her shocked when the tabloids not only posted pictures of her little secret lunch with Trey and his mom, they crop his mom out and ran the story like she and Trey go together. And when it rains, it pours, baby. Because them San Diego say, but don't have no love in their heart for Derwin. Because why they do him like this? Why?
Yo, move, man. What's up with t-shirts? Yo, it's classic. One of the rookies, girl, got busted in the face with another dude. Quick, let me get one before he comes in. You better hurry.
They so wrong for that, embarrassed the out of Derwin. And that is the moment where Derwin and Melanie's relationship truly starts going downhill. Where Derwin's brave face starts slipping and we start seeing just how he's been stewing beneath the surface. And again, I want to be clear. Derwin had every right to be mad at Melanie in this instance. If I told my man I ain't want him hanging with a gal no more because I don't trust her, and he agreed only to go behind my back and have lunch with her, and the way I find out is because my colleagues print pictures of them together on a shirt and taunt me in unison, it could be a big movie, you hear me? Heads would roll. Big blowout in the stadium. Blowout. I am not kicking Derwin's back in for being so angry with Melanie that he basically starts being very cold and distant with her.
So, you two are all fixed and repaired?
I don't know. According to Derwin, there's nothing to fix.
You guys are talking but not playful?
Yeah.
He's courteous but not warm?
Uh-huh.
You have sex but no intimacy?
Bang, bang, done.
It's the emotional disconnect. It's what boys do when their feelings are hurt.
In order to try to get back on Derwin's good side, in addition to rehiring Dion to help Derwin run damage control, Melanie decides to try to learn some pole tricks from Kelly to surprise Derwin with. But that goes tragically wrong, because when Derwin finally gets his first opportunity to actually play in the game as a rookie, he makes a touchdown or whatever the football players be doing. He do some big child and they win the game. So an excited Melanie gets naked and waits by the pole to surprise her man when he gets home. But she's the one who gets surprised when Derwin busts through the door with Malik and Jason. Now Derwin extra hot. Mind you, he's the one bringing over to their home in the dead of night without running it by Melanie or even making her aware he was bringing anybody, because he's too busy giving her the silent treatment and freezing her out so he could feel like a man again. But mad men don't care about facts, so he just run hot enough on Melanie until she come to the conclusion their relationship is done, and she begrudgingly calls her mother, who never liked Derwin because she never liked or approved of Melanie giving up her dream medical school to run behind man. So she was forced to tell that mother that Derwin was done with her, and she needed her ma to help her move out. And it's then, at the 9th hour, when Melanie ma has already flown all the way to San Diego and begun physically removing her daughter things from this house, that Derwin decides to save his relationship with Melanie.
But I meant every word of it. Baby, I love you, and I need you.
Melanie, let's go.
I love you too.
Oh, God.
But this cannot happen again.
Mel, I promise you, it won't.
Today's promise is tomorrow's restraining order.
And it's worth mentioning that Derwin only arrived at the decision to save his relationship with Melanie because Tasha and Kelly forced Malik and Jason to confront him and encourage him to do it. But it's in this conversation that he admits to the effects rookie hazing has had on his self-esteem and how that's led him to hurt Melanie like she hurt him, even though his heart wanted to forgive her.
This whole week, my heart's been telling me to let it go, while my head kept yelling for me to hurt her as much as she hurt me. Did he just mention his heart? Across the line, Jay. I basically gave Melanie the green light to move out. Did she pack her things? No. Did she forward a mail? I don't think so. Did she at least burn up your clothes? We're not gonna cry playing in the background? No. And then she's not going anywhere, man.
So they get back together. However, unbeknownst to Melanie, everything was not good because while Derwin might love her and want to be together, the actual problem was never named, let alone addressed. Derwin feels small, insecure, and resentful because he feels emasculated by Malik, Jason, Trey, and his standing in the football world. And he feels further emasculated that while he's surrounded by men who are running through women they claim are dying to marry them and take their money and all this, the woman he's chosen to marry doesn't want to marry him in his mind, and further embarrassed him by hanging out with a more famous football player who is everything Derwin is hoping to be. Y'all gotta remember that this is how Derwin was getting due right in front of Trey.
What's up, Jay?
Man, I wish you played for the Sabres. We never get any good draft picks.
Oh, man, please. Y'all got some great receivers like my man here. You need to get his autograph.
This happens to Derwin all the time. The San Diego fans have really embraced him.
Derwin Davis? How about you with Jason Pitt? Yeah, I guess my mama can put a patch over it.
That'd make anybody feel small. So Derwin and Melanie staying together didn't magically erase his underlying resentment towards her or how he was struggling with insecurity around his masculinity. And unfortunately for Derwin and Melanie, Derwin did what a lot of men do when they want to feel like a man. They turn to women. One night, Derwin is at a club with Malik, who's on a date with R&B singer Drew Sidora. But when Malik blows her off because he's more concerned with his ex-girlfriend Eva Pigfoot, who he sees in the club, Derwin ends up chatting her up and making sure she gets home safe. And by chatting her up, I mean flirting like shit without any mention of his fiance at home. And this here was the beginning of Melanie and Derwin's love transitioning into struggle love. Because who child? The first thing we need to establish is that Derwin had 10 million chances not to cheat on Melanie with Drew Sidora and to stop advancing his relationship with Drew Sidora, and he refused. Absolutely refused not to go down this path.
Okay, pretty please. Drew Sidora? Is this my Drew Sidora? Oh, rookie. I thought that was over. Over? When did it start? Yo, there is nothing going on, all right? She's on the road, so we text each other once in a while. No big deal. Joke here, recipe there.
Joke here, recipe there.
What the hell is going on, boy? Nothing, Malik. Damn.
Does your girl know?
There is nothing to know.
Oh, why? Because she's not a foodie like you and Drew?
Now you doing foodie calls on my girl, too? Okay, Malik, Drew does not like you. And she only likes me as a friend. And the only reason why Melanie doesn't know is because I couldn't get all worked up over something that's not even a thing. You dig?
Yeah, we dig. But that sound, man, that's the fuse to the bomb that's gonna blow up anyway.
Absolutely nothing about Derwin's affair with Drew was a mistake. Derwin made a conscious decision to with that gal. But I do think we should note why Derwin made that decision, because it never had shit to do with how he felt about Drew. It had everything to do with what Drew represented. Derwin did not want Drew. He wanted to be picked over Malik. Yes, okay? For Derwin, who'd spent months being belittled and feeling emasculated by like Malik star quarterback $40 million Mac, Having Drew come in and reject Malik in favor of pursuing Derwin and watching Malik spin out and get to feel a fraction of how small Derwin had been feeling is what truly motivated Derwin to keep pursuing Drew.
So why you up here? Yeah, figured I'd take another crack at it. Whoa! That's nice, but I don't know, man. What you mean you don't know? You saying Malik Wright having to bribe a girl for a date might make you look a little desperate. But hey, what do I know? I'm used to girls liking me for myself. Be good, man.
Drew's entire purpose in Derwin's life is to affirm him and to validate his grievances. And that's why he doesn't take any opportunity to avoid his relationship up with Melanie over her. His boldness was on 10 out of the gate with this affair, okay? Because after Derwin meets Drew, he not only flirted with this woman all night, he exchanged numbers with her. And the moment he gets home, when Drew texts him, Melanie immediately clocks as suspicious and asks him whether he told her he had a fiance. And this nigga fixed his mouth to say to her, he don't know. It might have come up.
Smell like bitch in here.
Then, when he suggests to Melanie he'll text Drew right then and there and tell her all about Melanie, Melanie insists he does it and hands him the phone. But when he calls Drew, instead of telling her about Melanie, Drew asks him to be in her music video. He enthusiastically accepts and hangs up the phone without having told Drew he has a fiance. But Derwin insists to Melanie that he'll tell her later. And because Derwin had never given her a reason to doubt him at this point, she takes him at his word and just moves on with her life. But while Melanie busy trying to focus on med school, Derwin is in fact continuing to text Drew, flirt with Drew, and giggle about plans to reconnect in a music video shoot. And let me tell y'all something. Jason and Malik guilty of many things, but let the record reflect. Damn was in Derwin's ear from day one, telling him not to do that shit with Drew Sidora. But Derwin wasn't trying to hear that shit. Derwin gone right there to Drew music video, and before they could even make it to set to do the kiss Drew claimed the video director asked to hide, Derwin and Drew done making out in her trailer.
You're a bitch.
Let me tell you, if you are someone who doesn't recognize emotional cheating or conspiracy to cheat as cheating, maybe you thought Derwin hadn't yet crossed the line by texting her. But I'm here to tell y'all that at this point, Derwin officially had Melanie all the way up. All the way up. Because not only is the cheating undeniable at that point, whether you think a kiss ain't the end of the world or not, but Derwin starts playing in Melanie's mother face from this point forward. You hear me? I knew Derwin was prepared to dance with the devil when he kept this shit with Drew up after just narrowly walking away from that music video release party with his relationship intact. That mother was a bold because this man wasn't just cheating. He cheating with a musician who his gal already asked him about, who he know his gal have song as her ringtone, but he somehow thought he was gonna manage to go to that release party without Melanie. Ironically enough, because of what we could see, he always mad if Melanie even dared to think about prioritizing studying over some bullshit he won't do. But now that he won't go to his side bitch music video release party so he could crease up with her while they grin up at big music video with them kissing without his fiance being none the wiser, now he dying for her to choose studying over the party.
You raggedy bitch.
But God don't bless wickedness. So Melanie, of course, decides to go with him to the party. As soon as they reach, he's trying to find any which way to get out of there. And just as he almost thought he'd get out of there, Malik come over and gone out his way to make sure Melanie stay. Because he want Derwin get catch. And I ain't blame him. And I do not care that Malik was motivated by his own pettiness because he mad Drew picked Derwin over him. He done tell Derwin I stop doing but he won't be Mr. Bitches. So come, let's hear Mr. Bitches handles pressure.
Hey, I know y'all ain't leaving.
Alright, I guess we could stay in at least.
Good idea, girl, Melanie. Baby, fly over to the bar. Ringo, have a drink. I almost had her out of here, man. You are killing me right now. You're supposed to be a player. Just saying what you can do in the heat of battle, and frankly, you're disappointed.
But Derwin ain't no player. He's a liar. So he ain't had no choice but to quick tell Drew the truth before Melanie came over to introduce herself.
Yeah, to Melanie, best wishes.
But now that you're here, we'll be the couple with the spotlight.
Yeah, sure. You know, I forgot something at the bar, and Drew, I gotta tell you something.
Yeah?
I have a fiance.
What?
Now, Here's the exact moment when Drew Sidora established herself as a bird bitch I could never with, okay? I hate Drew Sidora to the point where I hate the woman in real life. I know she on one of them Real Housewives shows that I don't watch, but you couldn't tell me she ain't automatically the villain.
Where's your man going? Oh, don't worry. He'll be back.
And I feel this way because up until this point, you couldn't fault Drew for nothing because she didn't know nothing about Melanie. She thought she met a really nice, fine-ass single she was vibing with. But here, this bitch finds out that who she thought was a good available man is actually another woman's lying ass. And her immediate conclusion is that she could take that man from that woman eventually. Just like Derwin ain't make no mistakes, neither did Drew. She consciously decided that she was gonna continue pursuing that man. Melanie could die slow. Drew consciously stepped into the role of side chick, preying on a promotion. And the only person stupider than her was Derwin. Because I don't know where he searched the world to find the balls to keep pushing his luck, messing with Drew. But he did. And while he busy continuing to carry on an emotional affair he planned to make physical, just like a cheating ass does, he starts getting suspicious of Melanie cheating with her study partner. Ain't that some shit?
See, this is exactly what I was talking about. You're feeling guilty about you and that girl Drew.
It was just one kiss.
Okay, maybe Melanie's only kissing this guy.
Jay, that is not funny.
Hey, I told you play in the mud, you're gonna get dirty, but you wanted to play. You wanted to play. Now you're paying the price. So far, it's cost you trust and one deliciously tasty latte. And here's to you.
Remember I said earlier that Derwin doesn't have a problem with Melanie's friendship with Trey because he has evidence of something nefarious on either of their part, but simply because Derwin subscribes to the sexist beliefs that men and women can't be friends? Well, here go another example. Because this cheating ass fixed his mouth to be harassing Melanie about studying with Stefan Urkel. And Derwin's beliefs about men and women being friends is also further proof that he never for a second had platonic intentions about the relationship with Drew. So Derwin out here projecting his trifling ways onto Melanie, who's unfortunately too flattered and trusting of her fiance to peep any red flags. And even more unfortunately for Melanie, she didn't know she was about to get whiplash because while she busy studying, thinking she's in a healthy, committed relationship, she didn't know Derwin round the place auditioning Drew for a spot and subconsciously comparing everything she says and does to Drew, who's deliberately trying to be and do everything Derwin is telling her Melanie ain't. So when Melanie doesn't immediately say f her medical school final and drop what she's doing to rush out to LA to celebrate a deal Derwin just landed, Derwin takes that opportunity to lean into Drew, who is physically present at the resort he's staying at, so that Drew could pick up the pieces of his ego that feel bruised whenever Melanie holds space for her own goals and priorities when he expects that they should fall to the wayside for what he wants to do. And let's be clear about what was happening there. Because Derwin wasn't just sad that his partner couldn't celebrate his accomplishment with him. That would have been perfectly normal. Derwin was angry. Derwin felt slighted because he perceived his partner being unable to celebrate his accomplishments with him so she could study as her choosing not to be there for him because she doesn't care about him enough. And that's not a reasonable nor a rational thing for him to think. Not if he actually gives a f about her doing well in med school or comprehends how much work med school is. But Derwin doesn't care about Melanie's med school or her dreams of becoming a doctor because he has it in his head that being a football player is so much bigger and it deserves to be the center of their universe.
Have you seen my gray socks? You know, the silky ones?
Weren't they in the laundry that you were supposed to do? Derwin, I'm wearing Sunday undies and it hasn't been Sunday for 4 days.
Hey, baby, I'm so sorry. I know I said once a season and I would take over the day-to-day stuff so you can study. But who knew your day-to-day stuff will take up the whole day?
I was all on board for having a Christmas with you and the Sunbeams, but apparently football trumps everything around here.
Yeah, because we're football players. We play football.
And Derwin isn't the only one who thinks like this. This is the common theme of just about every word out of Kelly and Tasha's mouth. They see the core function of any woman in these football players' lives to center these men, aid them in their football goals, and to prioritize the team. From their perspectives, these making the big money, and they want them to be able to make the big money, so they have to do whatever them feel is necessary to make it happen. And it's that kind of thought process that not only had Jason pimping Kelly out to his team owners trying to get a new contract, which we will talk more about in another video and another day, but it also had Kelly and Tasha thinking the correct response to catching Derwin all booed up with Drew wasn't to drive all the way back to San Diego to let their girl know what this ass man she calls her fiance is up to. Oh, no. These messengers for misogyny took their asses all the way back to San Diego to Melanie house to gaslight her about how she not doing enough to praise Derwin and how she gonna lose her mind because she doing horrible, inconsiderate, loveless shit to him, like asking him to wait to have their wedding after graduation and waiting to celebrate his new deal when he got back home and after she'd taken her exam.
If you were a light bulb, you'd be too white. I told you when I first met you that there are women out here hoeing for Hummers, homes, and hedge funds. Did I not?
She did. Derwin is not interested in those women, and he hates Hummers. And if you want to keep it that way, maybe you shouldn't be too busy to celebrate the biggest moment in his career. Derwin knows I have to study. Look at it from his point of view. Studying trumps tonight, his proposal on national television.
And on top of that, you don't mind him being friends with a girl who shakes her ass in the music video wearing nothing but La Perla draws, fierce whitening coat, and baby just see the ice.
Oh, okay. You guys saw Drew's video. Look, I know it looks like something's going on, but it's not. They're friends. They're just working together. Sweetie, black women are always complaining about finding a good black man. Well, you have one. Lock him down, or one of mine gets to him.
So after these two examples of why you should never take advice from women who subscribe to the patriarchy finished gaslighting her, poor Melanie gets it in her head that she needs to call her man and tell him how much she loves him, how sorry she is, and how she does want to marry him.
You coming home soon?
I hadn't planned on it.
Well, could you?
Why?
Well, I want us to talk face to face.
Talk about what?
About us getting married. And I was hoping you would come home soon and ask me to marry you again. So I could do it right this time.
Yeah, Mel. Where's all this coming from?
Look, Derwin, good things are happening for you. And I want to be on that ride with you because I love you.
And you know what Derwin do? Do y'all want to know how Derwin respond to this woman? Because Drew got Derwin feeling like he's Superman, he got that kryptonite, he's smacking with the dick in the mic. This man who's sitting up in his side bitch hotel room takes flight on his fiance and accuses this woman of only wanting to marry him now because he got a sponsorship deal. The same man who believes that a star NFL player is in love with her, and yet she ain't with that star player and she with Derwin, is accusing her of being with him because he got one deal.
Well, if you love me, then why don't you ride up to LA to propose to me?
Because it's not usually done that way.
Oh, okay, so how is it done, Melanie? Huh? Because I did it on one knee in front of the whole stadium, and obviously that wasn't the right way.
I guess it just took a moment for me to realize that...
To realize what? That big endorsement means big money?
Is that what you really think of me?
This is a conversation that we need to have in person, so why don't we just talk about it when I get back tomorrow?
Yeah.
Mind you, Melanie never ever told this man she didn't want to marry him. All she asked was that they wait till she graduated medical school. But Derwin convinced himself that if Melanie would do it now on his timeline, if she ain't hot up to marry him, she ain't want to do it all. Because the other bitches would be hot up to marry a football player. Derwin truly is an all or nothing type of you hear me? You gotta do everything how and when Derwin want to do it, or this man will come to the conclusion you don't give a if he live or die. He is a real what have you done for me lately ass because he don't care nothing about the many sacrifices Melanie made to be in San Diego with him, or how many times she's prioritized him and the Sabres. She want to have long engagement so she could plan her wedding without the stress in med school? She obviously don't with him. She won't celebrate his deal in a few days after she's taken her test. Bitch obviously don't care about his accomplishments. That's why I told y'all earlier, it wasn't just that he was reasonably disappointed she couldn't make it. He was angry and resentful because in his mind, ain't no reason why she can't make it because what she got going on to him ain't more important than what he got going on. Or at least it shouldn't be to a woman who cares about him or recognizes what a big thing he is. That's what Derwin thinking. And it's also what was being validated by Drew, who he couldn't wait to turn to slander his fiance he just finished yelling at in front of her.
Melanie wants me to propose to her again.
Okay, wasn't that what you wanted?
No. All right, I wanted her to say yes when I asked her. Like, why does she suddenly want me now? An hour ago? Okay, she didn't want to come up and celebrate with me talking about I ain't got nothing to wear and blah, blah, blah.
For real, when a woman says she has nothing to wear, what she's saying is, buy me something.
And I did. An engagement ring and a brand new Toyota Camry.
All right, look, I had an idea. I'm only gonna wear 2 of these dresses, so whichever one makes me look fat, you can give to Melanie. I'm serious.
Then, to add another layer of disrespect to this mountain of disrespect, and I do mean mountain of disrespect, because I can't even imagine my man not only talking to me crazy, but talking to me crazy in front of a bitch. But Drew fixed her mouth to combo. Let me try on my dresses, and you could give a dress I don't want to your raggedy gal, because I don't want to throw no shade, but she did look stink at my party. Derwin needed his ass beat for the way he was talking to Melanie, about Melanie, and letting this gal talk about Melanie alone. But he decided to really sign his death sentence by going right ahead and finally the gal.
Shame.
And Derwin is a real piece of shit here, because soon as he finally grind that gal, he gone from talking to and about Melanie with all that hard mouth to back to being a sheepish little church who love his gal.
You gonna cheat on Melanie again?
Psh, never. Man, I love Melanie. Funny thing is, like right after having sex with Jules when I felt it the strongest.
Ooh, that's special. Did they make a card for that? Keep your mouth shut.
Melanie's always told me the truth, no matter how hard the truth was, Jay. That's why I love that girl, man. And I owe her the same.
How convenient is fucking that?
And I hate like this, yeah? Because Derwin been cheating and lying to Melanie for months. But he somehow psychologically convinced himself that he hadn't done anything wrong until he grind Drew. It's only then that all of a sudden he feel all this guilt, like he need to go rush home to Melanie to come clean. He ain't thought he needed to come clean when he was tonguing Drew down in the trailer, when he was on the phone watching movies with her for months, when he was telling all their business and his every complaint. No. But he grind her, and now all of a sudden he can't have no lie between them. He love his girl. So he goes home to Melanie, set on coming clean. But as soon as Melanie peeped that it come like this man about to tell her he cheat on her, she turned up expeditiously, as she should. And Derwin, bitch ass, immediately decided to go back to lying. I mean immediately. He ain't skip a beat.
What about Drew?
Okay, after the video, we started texting each other, talking to each other on the phone. And
I hope you're not trying to tell me what I think you're trying to tell me.
okay, Melanie, listen.
Damn. God, I feel so stupid. People were telling me you're no good. But I defended your ass. God, you had me up in her face, asking her for an autograph, looking like a damn fool. Yet this whole time you were sleeping with her?
See, Mel, ain't nobody say anything about sleeping with nobody, baby. I just kissed her.
Oh, you just kissed her, Derwin. You look me in the face right now and tell me you didn't sleep with her.
Melanie.
Did you sleep with her, Derwin?
No, I wouldn't do that to you. Liar! Baby, I love you so much that I put a stop to it before it went too far. All right? 'Cause
Okay.
I don't want to lose you, boo. All right?
That better not be her.
Let me tell y'all something. It's one thing to cheat. It's one thing to lie. It's another thing to gaslight, you know. And it's the gaslighting that really be taking over the edge. Because you done lied to the woman. You done cheat on the woman. But now you in her face, not just telling her you ain't do it, but telling her that she know you would never do something like that to her. Having her thinking she tripping when she assumes the stranger texting you is a bitch you could be cheating with. Meanwhile, why shouldn't she think that? When the last time she asked you about a stranger texting your phone, it was an R&B singer you end up cheating on her with.
After party tomorrow, need you in my jeans. Camille. Now it's Camille? Who's Camille, Derwin?
Who you talking?
Negro, I didn't stutter. Camille
Hey,
on
listen,
there?
hold up.
Who's Camille on there?
That's Chameleon there, boo. The after party tomorrow wants me in his clothes. The clothing line, baby. Come on. Come on.
I'm sorry for sending you on a roller coaster with this engagement. I was just worried about losing myself in your life, that I didn't realize I was sending you a message that I didn't want to be in your life at all.
This man swing the entire out of Melanie. But just like he been doing, he keep pressing his luck. Because let me tell you all right now, there's absolutely no reason under the sun why Derwin was foolish enough to take Melanie anywhere. He knew Drew was gonna be after he just barely got away with lying to Melanie about Drew by the skin of his teeth. There is absolutely nothing that could have been important enough that he couldn't miss that party. But like I tell y'all, Derwin insists on playing with the devil. So he going right there to that party with Melanie, knowing that y'all there. But he didn't even have to worry about Drew snitching because he and his publicist Dion get into it because Derwin let Irv ice her out of a deal she organized, then have the nerve to be in her face with his head cocked to the side like he's big man. So Dion let the chopper sing, not knowing Melanie was around the corner getting hit by all the spray.
You proposed to Melanie on national television. I turned it into a great story. Don't you think that I could take you and Drew Sidora, turn that into an even better story?
Wow, Dion. See, now you just made this stuff up.
Cut the crap, Derwin. Drew's stylist is my sorority sister. She was standing outside the door waiting. Not that it took you all that long. So, I guess the only person who doesn't know is me, huh, Derwin?
The way I remember where the I was when Melanie first popped from behind this wall, this was cinema. The way I know this shit bar for bar.
The only person who doesn't know is me, huh, Derwin?
Let me tell you how the game was really out to make TV history with this scene because they already ate this season finale up. Melanie done catch him and the episode end with Melanie giving him that ring back and saying, just to be clear, Derwin, we're over. Listen.
Just to repair. It's over.
And still, they say we can do more because they decided that the season 2 premiere would continue right where we left off and open with Melanie ready to beat Drew ass, spinning around and telling Derwin he looked like a damn Chicago two-step champion, then crashing his car when he tried to play in her face. Yes, Lord. Cinema. Cinema.
What you looking at, low self-esteem bitch? Okay, you need to back the hell up. Not that you owe me anything, but damn, I am another black woman. Mel! I hope you wore a condom with that skank. Hey! Actually, I hope you didn't, because you deserve whatever you get. No. The quicker you get me the hell up out of here, the better for all of us.
Baby, I'm sorry.
You can't be serious.
Boo, I want to tell you everything.
You're a coward, Derwin. You lied to my face and brought me here knowing you had sex with me.
Just calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down, church boy. All that falling on your knees, praying. You're a hypocrite. Look at you with your stupid do-rag and your clown suit. Looking like a damn Chicago two-step champion.
Melanie was giving it to this, okay? And as she should, because Derwin had her 10 miles past all the way up. Let's take a second to assess everything from Melanie's perspective, shall we? Melanie met a boy in college she fell in love with. Melanie got into the medical school of her dreams. Melanie gave up going to the medical school of her dreams so that she could move to San Diego with said boy so he could pursue his professional football dreams with the San Diego Sabres. She goes to a medical school in San Diego. This decision disappoints Melanie's parents and puts them a little at odds. While in medical school in San Diego, said boy expects her to be an active member of the Sunbeams, an organization dedicated to making football players' wives and girlfriends live their lives for them. Despite having no time or interest for this, as she is in med school, she makes time for this and befriends the two main bitches who live and breathe this philosophy. Her boy then proposed to her, and she accepted, but asked if they wait to have the wedding after her graduation. She hangs out with an old college friend who made the boy feel insecure, so he ends up punishing her for weeks until she has to call her already disappointed mother to come help her collect her things because the boy she repositioned her entire life for don't want her no more because she decided to catch up with her old college friend. They get back together, but unbeknownst to her, the boy starts cheating on her, lying to her repeatedly and playing in her face. Because she had to study for her test when he wanted to celebrate a deal he just got, she got gaslit by the boy and her two best friends, who all convinced her she's been taking the boy for granted and creating the problems in their relationship because she should be so honored to be a football player's wife that she shouldn't care to carve out some space for her and her own dreams. So they convince her she's the problem, only for her to find out that the boy been cheating on her and lying to her, and her friends and everybody knew but her. Then on top of that, Not only does she find this shit out in public, in front of an audience, she has to run into the bitch who's somehow having an attitude with her, as though she ain't the voluntary side bitch who up fiance. Then to add the final insult to injury, because the boy is consumed by pride, ego, and masculinity, even as he running behind her trying to get her not to leave him, his insecurity can't take her saying what the needed to be said about how this mother convinced her she was such a problem because she needed to study. Whole time he cheating. This the boy go fix his mouth to tell her, damn, if you need to study that bad, maybe you shouldn't be a doctor.
Hey, wait a minute, Melanie, okay? Because you're not so innocent yourself. You know what, baby, I want to marry you.
Oh, shut up and take it. I'm tired of hearing how I turned you down because I needed to study.
Again, you need to study that much and maybe you're not supposed to be a doctor.
What did you just say?
Come on, you weren't supportive, Melanie. You know it and I know it. From day one, you fought being here.
I gave up everything for you.
Yeah, and I gave you a ring. Baby, I'm the one paying for your tuition. Hell, I'm the one who bought you this car you driving.
Oh, yeah. Punk ass.
Mel, let's just talk. Mel, a car!
Derwin lucky all Melanie do was let that car crash like that. Because I was gonna hit Derwin with that car. I was gonna drive that through him, okay? And I would have hit Tasha and Kelly with it too. Because as much as I love Kelly Pitts and Tasha Mack, and I will be making a Kelly Deserved Better video because Jason was an oppressor. Them old miserable hoes who wasn't even really old for true. But them old miserable hoes stayed peddling patriarchy and misogyny to convince themselves and other women that abandoning themselves in service of a man was the way to do it. Whole time, Kelly was an emotionally and financially battered woman in her marriage, and Tasha up each and every relationship she was in, except the one with the coach. That was in the wrong. We'll talk about that another day. And she didn't always do right by Malik either, but that's also a conversation for another day in another video. Tasha and Kelly were so wrong for how they did Melanie with this. They lucky this was all she had for them.
Please hurry. I have some backstabbers following me. Kill the dramatics. Melanie, come on, get in the car. I knew something was up when you guys drove all the way down to San Diego to check up on your girl. Melanie, we tried. Yeah, to make me look like I was the one that was messing up my relationship when you knew he was screwing around with Drew.
Okay, look, in our defense, we weren't 100%, so we didn't want to say anything just in case we misinterpreted his hand on the nape of her ass.
What else would it be, Tasha?
As much as I love, and I do mean love, Melanie, Tasha, and Kelly as a trio, if they were real people instead of fictional characters, I would have needed Melanie to get as far away from them as possible because her relationship with them suffered from the same shit as her relationship with Derwin. Remember earlier when I said Derwin and Melanie narrowly avoided a breakup when her mom was helping her move out, but nothing changed because they never actually addressed the root cause of the issue, which was Derwin's insecurity and how that's all tied to this antiquated, rigid idea of masculinity that got him feeling less than because he not the head in charge like Trey, Malik, and Jason all walking around moving like they are. Well, Tasha and Kelly's similarly antiquated ideas about men, women, and relationships is what stood in the way of them being the kind of supportive women and friends Melanie needed in her corner. And I'll explain exactly what I mean. Melanie decides to stand on business and leave Derwin for cheating on her, which means she no longer has a place to live or a way to continue paying for medical school because Derwin had been covering her tuition since her parents wouldn't because she'd given up Johns Hopkins. Her parents basically said, oh, you want to run behind mine? Let mine pay your tuition there. And let's not forget, her mother didn't fly down there once to rescue her from Derwin once before, and Melanie decided to stay with him against her mommy advice. So she definitely ain't trying to call her parents and tell them the mind they ever taught was no good. Cheat on her. So now she need them to come get her, find her a place to stay, and pay her tuition. Derwin's actions done uproot Melanie's entire life overnight. And who she could turn to? She only have two friends in San Diego, and it's Tasha and Kelly. Two bitches who saw what Derwin was doing, but instead of wanting her, they gaslit her into thinking she was the fucking problem. So that's a hard pass. So she turned to the obvious choice, her friend Trey. And I am here to tell y'all, as the she should have. That's exactly who she should have turned to. The multi-millionaire who been friends with her for years before she ever knew that Derwin, and who Derwin was trying to tear from her life.
Yup.
That's exactly who she was supposed to turn to. Derwin done had her for a puppy show in front of everybody and they Ma. Melanie wouldn't have been cooking with grease if she didn't have Trey and his bodyguard be who pull up with her to retrieve her shit from Derwin crib. Melanie wouldn't be named Melanie Med School Barnett if she denied herself the opportunity to see Trey hem Derwin ass up in that crib, yeah? Derwin lucky Melanie better than me, cause I would have tell Trey take him down to the ground so I could kick him one good time before I go. Get him again.
I'ma just scoot on over and let you whack him. Get him again. Get him for me.
Let me tell y'all something. There are a million in the world a woman could and will rebound with to make herself feel better after a horrible breakup where a man was cheating on you. And Melanie chose her longtime friend who'd been in love with her, respected her, wanted to take care of her, and had the means to do so. And y'all want me shame her?
Shame.
Trey gone out and get Melanie a car, an apartment, and tuition in a day. And y'all want me to think Melanie was doing something wrong? Kelly had the audacity to shame Melanie for sleeping with Trey, running on about how she gave it up so fast, and poor Derwin. Bitch, what?
I don't know. I just, I wanted to feel wanted. Just to forget the last few days. I was tired of crying. Sweetie, you could have just turned to alcohol. Have you even thought about Derwin? He's gonna be crushed if he finds out. He cheated on me. Well, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
3 rights, make a left.
You didn't even wait the customary cooling off period, which is what? Longer than 3 days?
It is patriarchy and internalized misogyny that has this goofy bitch justifying a man cheating on a woman, but critiquing a woman having sex with someone else after the relationship has ended. It's that kind of mentality right there that had them blaming Melanie for Derwin stepping out in the first place when they saw him with Drew. And they never stop saying goofy shit. Instead of Tasha being an older, more mature voice of wisdom, she sit right there and validate Melanie, thinking that it would make her a hoe to let Trey financially help her after sleeping together. Ain't no problem for her to give up her dreams to go to a random med school that's convenient for Derwin. Ain't no problem with her being with Derwin and letting Derwin pay the tuition. But if she move on from Derwin and she let a new pay it, then she's a hoe.
That is not correct.
So them shaming Melanie, in addition to Trey being open about his feelings with Melanie and his plans for something more serious between them, caused Melanie to decline Trey's help, except the medical school tuition. Because she prideful, but not so prideful she could drop out of med school. She need that tuition money. But the whole time Kelly and Tasha right there shitting on Melanie's relationship with Trey and her getting help from him, the only mother who want to help her, they didn't have any interest in helping her. And that's some shit.
You can stay with Kelly.
I can give you an application to this Sunbeam parachute package. Place to stay. No. It's just my own little silly personal rule. No single chicks around my man.
I say again, Tasha and Kelly ain't much different from Derwin, because same way they were shaming her for absolutely no reason is the same way Derwin somehow found the audacity to call the woman he cheated on while they were engaged to be married a slut for sleeping with Trey after their breakup when he finds out that Trey paid her medical school tuition.
Where do you get off calling my mother?
I mean, Jason would never let Kelly give you any money, and Tasha won't even let you stay at her house. So who does that leave? Wait a minute. I do vaguely remember some clown rolling up in my house and snatching your stuff.
Let's just be clear, okay? Whatever happens with my stuff is no longer your business.
Come on, Mel. Admit it. Because if Trey is paying for your tuition, the only way I see him doing that is if you let him hit it.
Get the hell out of here, Derwin.
Come on, Mel. Mel, just admit it. Be a woman up and admit it.
Be woman enough. If you had been more of a man, none of this would have happened.
So you did sleep with him. You know what? It don't even matter no more. Because you can sleep with whoever you need to pay for school, because I am done with you.
You're done with me. I was done with you first.
Yeah? Mel, I'm so done with you, I'm on my way to Drew's. How you like them apples?
You know what? Go ahead. Because I was done with you last week when I got in bed with Malik.
What did you just say?
You heard me. Why do you think Tasha's making me move? It damn sure ain't because my feet stink.
This, my friends, is what we call misogyny. Tasha and Kelly was shaming Melanie at every turn as she stumbled through a breakup with Derwin, especially when Melanie caught herself feeling lonely and vulnerable one night and made a pass at Malik, which Tasha somehow turned into some kind of act of war against her personally and the San Diego Sabres. Tasha spin round like Melanie was trying to tear the team apart and cost Malik his career by getting in between Derwin and Malik and up the chemistry of the football team, as though Derwin and Malik ain't been beefing over Drew Sidor the entire time, as though Derwin had already punched Malik by this point. Let me tell y'all something right now. Tasha Mac and Wendy Raquel Robinson, who play her, is my bitch and a comedic gold mine on this show. A character I have high praise for. I love down, and the show would be nothing without. But if we just straight talking how she used to give it up with Melanie and Kelly from time to time, she deserves for Kelly to knock her ass out like she did at the end of season 3. Yup. Yes, absolutely. But that's a conversation for another video. Melanie does end up staying with Tasha briefly until the Malika incident, at which point Tasha threw her out and she ended up living with Dion, Derwin's former publicist she used to hate, but ends up forming the most unlikely of friendships with. So Melanie goes from being a medical school student engaged to and living with her professional football playing fiance, driving to and from school, to a medical school student working part-time at a diner, riding the bus, renting a room from a gal she couldn't stand, nursing a broken heart. And I can tell y'all right now, the road to Melanie and Derwin getting back together was some of the rockiest, dramatic, keep you on the edge of your seat shit imaginable. Yeah? Every time you thought happiness was around the corner for our affairs, shit gone awry. And at absolutely every turn, it was Derwin's fault. Yes, it was Derwin's fault. The first time they almost got back together, that got messed up because Derwin gone to an award show to present an award for Best Kiss with Drew Sidora, and she kissed him at the award show on purpose to frig up his things with Melanie. So Melanie say that. And from that moment on, that's when Derwin decided he wants to see what the dating market have to offer, and he started doing and it's exactly that that caught up with him because Derwin picks up a random bitch out the road one day. Literally, random gal he meet at the traffic light who he don't know from Adam, jump out her car and in his car, and he immediately running around acting trip claiming this woman who was actually just trying to figure out how she could get pregnant for him. And when I say she was trying to figure out how she could get pregnant for him, I mean she literally was trying to pay a doctor to help teach her how to figure out how to use a turkey baster to inseminate herself once she steal the condom with the man's semen in it. She walked so Big Mary Jane could run. But that's how Melanie ended up finding out about her plan, because the gal's friends was trying to pay Melanie to use her medical expertise to help her trap Derwin, not knowing she was Derwin's ex. And what I found so ironic about this situation is that this woman, whose name was Raquel, but Derwin eventually resorts to calling eggs, was actually the gold digger that he had the nerve to accuse Melanie of being after Tasha and Kelly gaslit her into thinking she needed to prove to him she really cared about him because his ass was cheating. But while he had no problem sitting next to his side chick while he throws such a baseless accusation at the woman who'd been with him since time when he was nobody with no money, he couldn't bring himself to believe this random daughter was a gold digger when Malik and Jason warned him, or when Melanie tried to.
What you doing here? I'm kinda in the middle of something.
And won't you forget to leave this bitch a tip? You know, I need to talk to you.
Well, there's nothing you can say to me that you can't say in front of. You really need to stop this silliness and move on. Because it's obvious that I have.
You know what? Forget it. I came here to warn you, but you deserve whatever your girl gives you.
Wait a minute. So what you saying? She has herpes?
No, Jethro. She's trying to trap you with a turkey baster.
A turkey baster?
Yeah, it ain't just for basting turkeys.
All right, Melanie, now you just making stuff up.
Why the hell would I start lying to you now?
Because you want me back.
I don't want your cheating ass. You know what? Go back in there with your turkey baster. I hope she takes you for everything you're worth.
And the thing about this situation is that Derwin does catch the gal and realize Melanie was right. But despite narrowly avoiding impregnating someone due to Melanie's warnings, Derwin isn't any more careful to avoid knocking bitches up going forward. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What happens next is that Derwin started dating a woman named Janae, and Melanie started dating a man named Jerome. And shit was never right again, child. Let me start by saying that Jerome and Janae were both victims.
You're a victim.
Melanie and Derwin both ended up doing Janae and Jerome so dirty. And mind you, my girl Melanie is a victim that I am here getting justice for today as it pertains to her relationship with Derwin. But as it pertains to the love quadrangle between Derwin, Melanie, Jerome, and Janae, absolutely nobody caught the shorter end of the stick than Janae and Jerome. Really, Janae, she got the dirtiest end of the stick because hers is forever. But Janae and Jerome, because they didn't deserve to be collateral damage in these light-skinned people's nonsense. You hear me? But I'm not going to do a full breakdown of Jerome and Melanie or Derwin and Janae in this video because both relationships warrant their own videos to really get justice for Jerome and Janae. But I am going to talk about a few parts of Derwin and Janae's relationship because not only can a lot of the issues Derwin and Janae had be traced to the exact reasons Derwin had problems in his relationship with Melanie, that he's sexist, insecure, and he doesn't just need constant validation, he needs to be a woman's sole priority and for her to cater to his ego at all times. But there's also absolutely no way to discuss the downfall of Melanie and Derwin's relationship without talking about Derwin's relationship with Janae, because that's when Derwin really ruins any chance of he and Melanie having the life they planned for when they moved to San Diego fresh out of college. But what I will say about Melanie and Jerome before I focus on Derwin and Janae is this. If I was Melanie, I wasn't letting go of Jerome. No. Makad Brooks in his prime too. No, never. I'd never let him go. No, let him go. No. Never.
No, sir. Not me.
But back to Derwin and Janae. Janae and Derwin's relationship can be summed up in one line. When a man shows you who he is, believe him. Because Derwin was playing in Janae's face and suffocating her on red flags since the moment he met her. And she should have trusted her first instincts to go in the opposite direction from him.
What's up, lady? Hey. Let me introduce you to my man. This is Derwin Davis, Janae Bryce. How you doing, Janae? Oh, twinkle, twinkle, little star. I see him flying everywhere. You my first baby after me.
An awkward introduction.
Yeah, he saw me pretty short. You probably have twins or triplets. I mean, I am pretty potent.
Oh, well, okay. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab me some. No, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm probably not coming back.
Hey, hold on. Hey, I'm sorry. I just got out of a relationship, and I'm really not good.
You are pretty bad.
So what do you usually do?
Oh,
But instead of trusting her first impression, Janae gave him the opportunity to make another impression on her, and she agreed to go on a date with him. At which point, he showed her all the insecurity that had him lashing out on Melanie.
Favorite athlete?
You?
Good answer. That's a real good answer.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Mine is actually Dwayne Wade.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne and I were together for a while.
Oh, okay. What do you say after dinner we go hit up Mercy, grab some drinks? So how long's a while?
About 2 years.
Take you like athletes.
Are we at that point?
What you mean?
Thought we'd get to know each other a bit first, but okay, we can cut to the chase. After Dwayne, it was Lamar Odom. After him, it was Hill Harper. What is your problem, Derwin?
Anybody you ain't slept with?
I haven't slept with you, and I don't plan on it. Take me home.
Yo, I'm putting the word out. You were off the good girl list.
Oh, Derwin, please don't take me off the list. How will I ever survive?
And this results in Janae reading him his rights.
Why do you think I date the kind of guys I date? Just like y'all need to weed out the undesirables on your list, so do I.
Yeah, read out the broke ones.
Trust? I don't need anybody's money. My dad invented the coffee lid. So the money you make catching a little ball doesn't matter to me. Cheap ass card.
And at this point, on 2 separate occasions, which happen to be the only 2 occasions they've met, Derwin has shown Janae that he's an insecure, sexist man. But unfortunately, on both occasions, Janae accepts his empty apologies.
Janae, can I be honest with you?
You just were.
No, seriously. Janae, I had a problem with this before. Finding out the girl that I'm into is hanging out with all these big-name stars. Okay, it bothers me. Hell, it intimidates me. Okay, I said it.
Then why don't you just say that? Instead of sitting up here trying to call me a hoe because you have insecurities?
Janae, I didn't call you. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
And I call Derwin's apologies empty, not because Derwin didn't mean them, but because meaningful apologies come with changed behavior. But Derwin can't change his behavior without changing the way he thinks. And on neither one of these occasions does Derwin come to the conclusion it's wrong to judge women, assume the worst of them, or accuse them of being gold-digging whores if they've dated famous men before or breathed. He simply comes to the conclusion that Janae doesn't fit the bill, or at least he doesn't have the evidence that she fits the bill, and thus he looks foolish and small in the interaction once it's revealed that Janae comes from money and way bigger money than him. So he's trying to course correct and pick his face up off the ground. He isn't apologizing for the root cause of the issue, his sexism and insecurity. He's trying to course correct, ruining his chances with her. But unfortunately for Janae and Melanie, that's the beginning of Derwin and Janae's relationship. But their relationship was doomed from the start because Derwin was never emotionally available. But let's discuss when and why their relationship started falling apart, because it's relevant. When Derwin got injured and couldn't play in the championship game, he was depressed and wanted to sit around and wallow indefinitely. Janae allows this at first for a little bit, but after a week, she said, all right, enough of this. And she encouraged him to go to the championship game to support his team. He refused. But Janae insisted on going because she wanted to have fun in Miami, which upsets Derwin, who y'all know don't believe women supposed to do nothing but stand by her man. So they get into it. Derwin stays home in San Diego and Janae goes to Miami, which was very similar to a fight Melanie and Derwin had in season 1 when she wanted to go home for Christmas to see her family and he wanted them to stay in San Diego even after he no longer had any games or practices because he wanted to bond with his team and wallow with his team about the loss of the season rather than let her go see her family for Christmas. But anyway, Derwin stayed home in San Diego and Janae went to Miami to her man's football game he wasn't gonna be at. Which, look, in fairness to Derwin, is in fact nuts. And also to be even fairer to Derwin, let's really think about this. If I done bust my ass all season, help carry my team to the Super Bowl or wherever they was going, then I break my leg and can't play in the most important game, the final game to really get my ring, I wouldn't want to perk up or sit by the sidelines watching the game neither. And I would find it crazy that my partner decides that a week is the maximum I'm allowed to sit with my feelings, and that they acting like they suffering because they can't go party in Miami and go attend a game that I ain't even gonna be playing in. Janae was rarely wrong in her relationship with Derwin. I quite literally can't think of another time she was ever wrong, but this was the one time. However, behind the point, we ain't here to litigate Janae and Derwin. I tell you all this because while Janae in Miami, Derwin and Melanie run into each other in the food store, which leads to Melanie popping up at Derwin's place to start making out with him. Time Melanie minds Jerome at home waiting for her to get back with the queso dip she left to get, which is some truly egregious shit, but I don't tell y'all, that's a conversation for the Melanie and Jerome video. So Melanie and Derwin cheat on their respective partners, but the moment is interrupted by calls from Jerome and Janae that lead them to quit while they're ahead.
Hi, honey.
Hey, baby, where are you?
Hold on. I am so sorry it's taking this long. It's just that this is the third store I've been to, and everybody's out of salsa.
I was right for asking you to get my party supplies. Can you just get back here, please? It's not the same without you.
Well, what about the salsa?
Damn the salsa. These people are grown. They can even read that.
Hey, what's up?
Derwin, I am so sorry.
Janae, are you crying?
Baby, I shouldn't have left you. I should still be there with you. I should have been more understanding. I should be there.
But from that moment forward, Derwin's mind is back on Melanie. And eventually, when Janae realizes that she's just a placeholder for Melanie and breaks up with Derwin, he fully commits to trying to get Melanie back, despite the fact that Melanie was still very much with Jerome fine ass.
Derwin?
Hey, what's up, Mel?
What's up, Jerome? What's up, brother?
What are you doing here?
Oh, it's crazy. I just got the sudden craving for some cashews.
Aren't you allergic?
I guess that's what makes it crazy.
So, how's the leg?
Leg is cool. Yeah, I should be back in no time.
That's great, Derwin.
And of course, Derwin popping up on them started causing tension between Melanie and Jerome.
People sitting here waiting for you.
Home. Everybody comes to the farmer's market. It's not just for farmers.
You know, you were coming to a flower shop, Mel, okay? I wasn't gonna come over here until I saw old boy standing here.
Oh my God. You were making something out of nothing.
Am I?
Yes. It's all good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're beautiful. Oh, God, I wish I can take these all.
You can. Derwin already paid for all of them. No, you're not taking those flowers.
Come on. Don't get your peonies in a bunch.
You know what?
God, Jerome, they're just flowers. I mean, they're innocent. Where are you going?
You'll see if one of my ex-girlfriends left me a bushel of okra. How about that?
So eventually, Melanie planned a special trip for her and Jerome so she could reassure him she was fully committed to him and not thinking about Derwin. Only for Derwin to pop up trying to get her back, and Jerome and him to get into a big brawl in the bathroom.
So yours, bro. Gonna fall back.
Oh my God.
What now?
Yeah, I like that.
And Melanie gave Derwin this big speech about how she done with him, she in love with him, she's moved on, she chooses Jerome, only to spin around 2 seconds later and break the news to Jerome that she's still in love with Derwin, breaking this fine-ass man heart. But don't worry about Jerome, because this God don't play about him. Because not only does he get his lick back on Melanie with Dion, a conversation we could talk about in that Jerome and Melanie video. What happens next was Melanie calm as far as Jerome was concerned. Because tell me why Melanie break up with Jerome and head back to San Diego to tell Derwin she love him and want to be with him. But unfortunately for her, when Derwin reached home, Janae was already waiting for him with the worst news anybody who was rooting for Derwin and Melanie ever heard.
Okay, what's up, Janae?
Well, you would know if you would just answer your damn phone.
Janae, whatever it is, can we just talk about it tomorrow? Because I have had a really rough night.
Oh, yeah? You've been throwing up, too?
What?
I am pregnant, Derwin.
So by the time as Melanie reached, her reunion with Derwin was interrupted by the news that the man she loved so bad, who she just worked up the strength to finally forgive for cheating on her, then got another woman pregnant. You hate to see it, son. Poor Melanie ain't one believe the life she thought she was gonna live with this man done gone up in smoke. And on top of the fact that the last woman she know Derwin to pit eggs was absolutely an untrustworthy bitch trying to trap him with a baby, I couldn't really blame Melanie for doubting that Janae was really pregnant or questioning the timing being real convenient and thing. But Melanie didn't just take that doubt to Derwin, which is one thing. She took it to Janae, which was not right. Melanie's done a lot of not right things to Janae. But again, I think those things are better outlined in the Janae video. Eventually, despite how hurtful the shit was to her, but in Melanie confronting Janae, it does lead Janae to feel like Derwin and this gal obviously don't want nothing to do with her baby. They looking at her as an inconvenience, and she sent Derwin some forms to release his rights and obligation to the child, which Melanie was very excited about, which was bad. That was bad on Melanie's part. And Derwin was right to check her that she shouldn't even want the kind of man that would sign something like this and not want to be responsible for his child. But I understand my girl Melanie was going through it. She was just trying to find any way to make that shit not be a reality. And I understand she was bugging. But eventually, despite how hurtful the shit was to her, Melanie accepted that Derwin was having a baby with this gal and that she was gonna have to deal with that to be with him. But in the course of Melanie trying to stand by this man, Derwin was still doing a bunch of to make Melanie feel like he didn't value her in his life, but she was always going to play second fiddle to this baby and causing them to break up. First, he decided that because he's injured, he's worried about his financial future and thus too worried to pay Melanie's medical school tuition. Truly the one material commitment he's made to her. But spin round in the same breath and start taking out trust fund and shit for Janae and the baby. And let me be clear, the issue was not him wanting to take steps to take care of his child or the woman responsible for his child. The issue was him not seeing taking care of Melanie, the woman he allegedly plans to spend the rest of his life with, as just as important and necessary that he make provisions for. The same way he want to take steps to ensure that his child's needs are accounted for if his money situation happened to change is the same way he's supposed to be making sure he can honor the one financial commitment he's made to Melanie. That is quite literally necessary for Melanie to complete the one dream she has, that he should be just as invested in as she has had to be in his dream.
You couldn't help me out, but you can sign over your life for Janae?
For the baby!
Yeah, well, it's
Melanie.
the same damn thing, Derwin.
You know what, Melanie, it's not always about you, okay? I mean, listen to yourself. Complaining you had to run back to your mommy and daddy for money. Well, at least you have a mommy and daddy.
Well, I thought I had you.
Yeah, Doc? Well, it's not my fault that your punk-ass boyfriend ran up on me. If he didn't, I wouldn't be in this position.
Excuse me? So this is my fault?
Yeah, it is. There it is, Mel. I said it. Okay? My career could be over. Hell, my life could be over. So I'm not gonna let you or anyone else get in the way of me taking care of my kid.
So there it is.
There it is.
You said it. Your kid is more important than me.
Yes, he is, damn it.
How am I supposed to compete with that?
You can't.
Derwin tried to reframe this issue to look like Melanie was just trying to run competition with his child, but that wasn't a fair characterization of why she was so upset. Melanie didn't just feel like the baby had or would suddenly deprioritize her in his life. The way Derwin moved reaffirmed that shit to her. Every step of the way of Janae's pregnancy, Derwin went out his way to give Melanie crumbs. This was just the first indication of what was to come. And again, I say, Derwin rich, mind you, at this point, and Janae rich. All he feeling is a little bit of financial worry, and the first thing that gets cut is what Melanie needs. And sure, one could say Melanie had offered to take her tuition off his plate when he expressed his worries to her, and she had suggested trying to get a loan or help from her parents or something like that. She not only wanted and hoped that Derwin would affirm to her his commitment to pay her tuition, Derwin should have done that. He should have assured Melanie that he still was gonna honor the one thing that he needed to do for her. And then not on top of that, go spin around and make plans for how he giving money to Janae and the baby, but Melanie. It made all the sense in the world why Melanie went off and how Derwin's response to her valid feelings led to another breakup. And I say another because they also broke up another time when they were trying to keep it casual. But Derwin, the man whose rebound girlfriend is pregnant, cut Melanie off when he found out she was casually sleeping with a doctor at her job who Melanie had no business referring to as McCarty, but that's not the point here. The point was that all Derwin had was nerve and audacity. But that's consistent with a man who believes in double standards for women and men and treats women having sex with anybody but them as whore behavior. So in the course of Melanie and Derwin being broken up again, Derwin immediately ran back to Janae to play house with her, knowing he don't want to be with her, simply because Melanie and him wasn't working out right then. Yet, despite knowing he don't want to be with Janae and that he was just with Melanie, who he really want to be with, Derwin still finds the time to be just as insecure and controlling over Janae as he was with Melanie. That he pulls damn near the same shit on Janae and Hillhopper that he did to Melanie over her friendship with Trey Wiggs. Janae's ex-boyfriend was Hillhopper, played by the real Hillhopper who was playing himself. Janae and him had seriously dated and remained friends after the breakup. And again, I say, when I tell you all Derwin was carrying on the same way he was carrying on about Trey, he was carrying on about Hillhopper, and Hillhopper make a fool out of him, same way Trey Wiggs make a fool out of him. When Derwin discovered that Hillhopper was in town visiting and met up with Janae, he not only started carrying on, he started carrying on dead bad. Not because he even gave a about Janae, but because he was worried about what other think. Because he and have it in their mind that he have some ownership over this woman because she having his baby.
Letters to a Young Sister by a Mr. Hill Harper. Is this Hill Harper, the television star? Hill Harper, the one who used to have sex with your baby mama?
Right. Yo, man, he wrote that book and gave it to her last night.
I'm sure he did give it to her last night. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. That's not all he gave her. Janae, I've waited for this reunion, lost without the inspiration of this woman's work. This is like a love poem.
Oh, man, give me that.
In a second, baby. Her strength.
Janae.
Derwin only doing all this turning up because his masculinity feel threatened by his boys, implying that Hill, a more famous than him, could take his gal. So now he gotta make a scene and interrogate Janae because he feeling the same emasculation and rage he was feeling over Melanie and Trey.
Yo, Janae.
Hey, forward by Gabrielle Union.
Why are you yelling at me?
Explain why this is in your boy's book.
Explain. Oh, that's cute.
Cute? That's it?
Yes.
I'll be waiting for you whenever, wherever, whatever. You think this is cute?
Obviously she does. Y'all go ahead.
It's just a list of Maxwell songs that me and Hill used to like back in the day. That's it, all right? So don't trip.
Yeah, Derwin, don't trip. It was back in the day. Yesterday.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, bounce.
And just like Derwin was all in Melanie's face acting all suspicious our relationship with her study partner after he was the one cheating, Derwin was in pregnant Janae's face making noise like he didn't cheat with his ex and get back together with her. And just how we learned Derwin to take his worries to the street when he was staking out Melanie and her study partner, he going all the way over to the set of something Hill was filming on to try confront him, only for Hill to end up reading him for filth and calling him on the same shit I'm calling him on now.
Real talk, Hill. I really don't appreciate you trying to step to my girl.
Look, Derwin, no one is trying to step to your girl, okay? But I think that's sweet. I also think that Janae is an amazing woman. Mm-hmm. I thought I'd just let her know. That's why you write women nice notes. You write them something to make them feel good about themselves. When's the last time you did that to her? Huh?
Hey, look, man, don't be worried about me and Janae, all right? We are good.
Oh, you're good?
Yeah.
Okay, Derwin, you came here to get into something. Let's get into it.
What's up?
Okay, Janae told me about all the drama, the ex-girlfriend, and the back and forth. But tell me this. When Janae has the baby, what's gonna happen? You gonna marry her? Huh? You gonna let her move in? She even gonna get a drawer?
What? Man, that's none of your damn business.
Exactly, dude. It's your business, and you need to handle it. Look, Derwin, okay, when Janae told me about you and Melanie, it doesn't sound like the last chapter of that story's been written. I know a similar one, okay? The guy hems and haws, doesn't step up to the girl. And next thing you know, she's gone.
Well, let me guess, Hill. That story's about you and Janae, huh?
Or you and Melanie. Like I said, I don't think that chapter's written.
Hill Harper ain't tell one lie. And by the time Janae find out about Derwin running down on Hill and her and Derwin get into it, they end up breaking up because Janae could not figure out why a man who knows she ain't even his first choice in her face making noise. So he goes running back to Melanie, this time asking her to marry him. Specifically, shut up and marry him.
Derwin, being without you has been the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And quite frankly,
and marry me.
God, yes.
Derwin telling this woman to shut up and marry him after all the bullshit he done do and put her through. Yet, despite the fact that they last broke up because he was demonstrating to her financially that she wasn't a priority in his life, he spin round and buy her a ring so cheap and raggedy, the damn stone fall out the ring at the engagement party.
Oh, hell no, man.
Oh my God. The diamond fell out.
Oop, that's gone.
Yo, baby, don't even trip, okay? We gonna find it. Hey, y'all. Yo, help me find a diamond. Come on.
And I ain't a gal who dared into big ring, big wedding, financially breaking the bank on weddings. Nor do I believe how much money spent on rings and weddings corresponds to how much love is in the union. I understand why Melanie was so torn up over him getting her this crackerjack ass ring. So far, ever since he cheated on her, this man been giving her crumbs and bullshit to accept. This woman has been engaged to him before. She's had a real ring from him. He gave her a real ring before he actually started playing in the games and making real money. She know what it looks like when this is being intentional about what he gets for her and when he's serious about something. So this raggedy shit he on now feels illustrative of exactly how the relationship has felt ever since he it up by cheating and then eventually getting another woman pregnant. But of course, Derwin convinced Melanie she was just looking for problems and finding a reason not to be happy, when in fact, she was reacting to the problem, which is him.
I mean, it's a diamond falling out, this disaster of a dinner party? I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is a sign.
Sign for what?
That we shouldn't be getting married.
What?
Think about it, Derwin. If Jazz and Javon are getting married, then maybe marriage doesn't mean anything.
Stop overreacting to everything that happens. God, sometimes I swear you want to sabotage this relationship.
But poor Melanie's spirit was speaking to her. She knows she ain't crazy. Everything about how this man had been going about this marriage to her has been f***ed up and ill thought out with regards to her wants and desires from the jump. And it does say something about where he puts marrying her in his priority list. Because tell me why this man, Derwin, on their wedding day, picks up his phone in the middle of the ceremony, like right before it's time to say I do and kiss the bride, to take Janae's call and then run out to go see her birthday baby. What the fuck? Listen to me and listen to me good. I've been wanting to talk about this for years. This right here was some bullshit. First of all, ain't no reason in the first place why Derwin have his phone in his pocket with the ringer on high to be able to interrupt his wedding ceremony in the first place for any reason at all. And no way he's supposed to be picking up the phone in the middle of his nuptials. That man was quite literally 2 seconds from saying I do. There was nothing stopping him from saying I do, kissing his bride, and then both leaving and heading to the hospital for the birth of the baby. An event that usually takes hours, mind you. But instead, Derwin chose to pick up the phone before saying I do and kissing his bride, and then break off running, leaving Melanie there to not only truly internalize that this man really ain't gonna never choose her or make her his #1 priority ever again in this life, but to experience that trauma, pain, and embarrassment in front of everybody she know. And again, I say, this isn't a matter of him not being there for his kid, or me or Melanie expecting him to choose her over his child. The circumstances did not require that he leave Melanie standing there still unmarried or miss the birth of his child. He was supposed to say I do and head to that hospital with his wife. But leaving to go alone for an unmarried Melanie to have to wait for confirmation that this welcomed the child into the world with his ex, whom he then made his namesake, Derwin Jr., is some ridiculous shit that adds insult to injury that a serious man, a man like Hill Harper described, would never do. Despite that, Melanie and Derwin do still get married another time, and eventually they have kids of their own, twins to be specific. And though they do not live happily ever after, and definitely have more problems that we'll discuss in the future Janae video, I never became anti-Derwin and Melanie. I obviously understand the reasons why people would be. I laid them out in this video. Their relationship definitely does meet some of the core criteria for struggle love. But despite this, Derwin and Melanie's love for each other has always felt undeniable to me, and I've always understood why they kept fighting to be together. It's still true that Melanie deserved better than how she was treated, and she deserved better than what Derwin put her through. But I think that Derwin is unlike a lot of male love interests who set out to hurt their partners or are truly unworthy of their partners. Although intention isn't always necessary for a man to be a piece of shit, I think Derwin is more an example of how a genuinely nice guy, not nice guy with quotations, but a genuinely nice guy, if you watch the show and see Derwin overall, is corrupted by gender norms and other commonplace ideas about men, women, and relationships that we throw around in society and beat into men's head. Derwin was a church boy raised in football and by his Grammy. He got these ideas about masculinity and gender roles and relationships from somewhere. He's not acting from a place that he thinks is evil or wrong. I don't think Derwin did any of the things he did to Melanie because he was malicious or because he didn't love Melanie in his young mind. Not that intent is necessary for a man to do a woman dirty. But Derwin made the mistakes he made because despite Derwin's preoccupation with his own masculinity, what it meant to be a man, and loving Melanie, he never understood what any of those things required of him. And what he'd been taught about both men and women, as well as what continued to be instilled in him by the men and world around him in football, set him up for failure. But I do believe he wanted to do better, and did eventually do better way into the future. By the time he decides to switch teams so that Melanie could actually practice as a doctor. Which is why Derwin was the problem, but I'm still team Melanie and Derwin. If you enjoyed that video, it's your lucky day because I have a channel filled with videos just like it. Check out the one being recommended to you on the screen right now.